So,
we're sitting here with $10 worth of Starbucks product.
which only means 2 drinks.
2 drinks, yeah. So, what are we talking about today, David?
The real Gus, my favorite Game of Thrones character.
Oh, God. The dragon or the husband?
The husband.
Khal Drogo was your favorite Game of Thrones character.
No, never mind.
Yeah.
I made a joke. The real Gus means...
Drugs in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Okay, so... What drugs have you done? Kidding.
That's a good start. Allegedly, what drugs have I allegedly partaken?
No. We're not doing that.
Well, when my partner was diagnosed with chlamydia, I was forced to take a Z-Pack even though I tested negative for it.
What is a Z-Pack, for those who don't know?
A Z-Pack is a bunch of antibiotics that clear out your system, basically.
Isn't it like a threefold thing? It's chlamydia, syphilis, and...
It's just an antibiotic.
Yeah,
but it does chlamydia, gonorrhea...
And syphilis, right?
Not syphilis. Syphilis, you need an intramuscular injection of penicillin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I got it twice.
Syphilis twice?
I don't know if no. Yes, I got the injection twice.
Lovely. I've never had an STD, so I've never had to go through that rigorous course of
Let's hope it
antibiotics.
stays that way.
Yeah. So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about a few things. The first that we'd like to discuss are recreational drugs.
Fun.
The fun kind.
The fun you do at home.
Or in public, which people do all the time.
You've done that in public.
I have smoked. I've been high in public before.
Where were you that was so crowded and you're freaking out?
Oh, LA Pride.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
He did a weed.
I did many weeds at LA Pride.
He did many weeds at LA Pride.
Yeah.
Just the dumbest idea.
It wasn't my proudest moment, but it happened.
I mean, I've done a weed before.
You've done many a weed.
I've definitely
before.
outdone a weed.
Many a weed.
A couple weed, allegedly.
What did you do last night?
2 weed.
What's your favorite method of consuming?
I liked
marijuana?
vaping for a while because it was just easy.
Mm-hmm.
But we stopped because of vitamin E acetate. Because it's a quick filler that's a thickening agent.
It's a poison. It's basically a poison.
It's not a poison.
Even when it's burned, I thought that's what was killing people.
It's not burned though. It's vaporized. I liked it for a while, but I'm waiting for the FDA to tighten regulations on them a little bit before I get back into it.
So, before you get back into it, what is your current preferred method of consuming weed?
I like edibles because they fuck you up after a while, but they're hard to dose because once you take one, you're kind of fucked. You can't untake it.
Oh, yeah.
That's they tell you to go slow.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking's fun because you'll know when you're high because it'll feel it immediately.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't want to risk lung cancer.
Last time I took an edible, I was with my cousin, and I took way too much. I think the dose that I took was, and if this doesn't sound like a lot, it's because I don't have the best tolerance. It was 75 milligrams.
Yeah, that's about, each of these little squares is 10 milligrams.
Oh.
That's a dose.
Oh, so I took a lot.
Yeah, you took like 7 times the recommended.
Anyways, I threw up afterwards. Which I didn't know weed could do.
Yeah, you'll feel sick.
Yeah, I felt sick, but at first I thought the reason I threw up was because I was imagining something and I triggered my own body's response, you need to throw up right now.
I mean, that could be true.
But I didn't know that it was just a physiological thing, there's something that your body wants out.
Well, you feel dizzy.
Yeah.
And then your body will feel nauseous, and then you'll just throw up.
I remember I was laying face down in my cousin's bed after consuming the edible. It was 2:30 in the morning, and then I look up, my cousin's sitting in his computer chair, I look up, point my head towards him, and I go, I think I have to throw up. And I'm in my cousin's bed. So my cousin looks at me and he goes, "Run, bitch."
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. So that happened. I haven't smoked weed in a very long time. The program that I'm in for school doesn't allow it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can't. Turns out you can't smoke weed and be a medical professional.
Weird law. Weird flex, but okay. You can't. You were flexing about how your career is so important that you can't do drugs.
It's not. If it were my choice, I would 100% still be smoking weed. But because of, I believe it's public funding, the federal government can't fund hospitals if they have employees that test positive for.
And weed is
For
still
weed,
federally illegal.
Yeah, it's federally illegal, but I would think that at least in states where it is legal, you'd be allowed to test positive for it on a drug test.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what jobs it's not allowed?
Well, anything at a hospital.
Yeah, besides the medical field.
Pilots.
Okay, that makes some sense.
Pretty sure police officers.
Even police officers?
Yeah.
Huh. 'Cause I know police officers have they have a relatively high rate of, what are they called? Opioid consumption. Opioids tend to hit cops pretty hard because cops have a very physically demanding job at times. So they need to consume opioids. I would think that as an alternative, it would be fine if they were allowed to consume marijuana.
Federal issues and impairment of judgment.
Yeah. Oh.
Firemen can't.
I mean, I would.
Sure.
Firemen?
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
They need their lungs.
Everybody needs their lungs.
But they really need their lungs.
Everybody really needs their lungs.
But they really need their lungs.
Everybody.
Not only their life depends on others.
I mean, that's true, but you could say that about any job.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No. I think a fireman is a specific case.
Okay.
But they need stronger lungs than the average person.
So, we were talking more about how recreational drugs are sort of a mainstay at a lot of public events.
Oh, yeah, they're part of the culture?
They are part of the whole music festival culture.
Culture?
Back to when music festivals were first a thing.
Yeah.
Like, everybody talks about how great Woodstock is. Nobody talks about how many people overdosed at Woodstock. It was bad. It was horrible.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes not all drugs are good. Not all drugs are created equal.
Not crack isn't working for everybody.
Crack doesn't work for anyone. I don't know who crack works for.
Yep. Oh, true story. When I was in high school, I
did crack.
Yes, I did just a little bit of crack in high school. That's why I am the way I am.
Oof.
Okay, so I went to a park in high school to play basketball with a few of my friends, and after a game, my friends and I were hanging out by the court just drinking water, and I look maybe 20 feet away from the court. I see a man who is, I don't want to presume, but he looked clearly homeless, and he was standing there.
Should have just been a hipster.
It could have just been a hipster, but it was the middle of broad daylight. It was like 3 p.m. on a Sunday in a very well-lit public park.
Uh-huh.
And I saw there was smoke in front of this guy's face, but I didn't smell weed, so I'm like, okay, he's not doing that.
But you did smell a smell?
I smelled a smell, but I thought it just came from the road that was close to us. You know what I mean?
I've been smelling meth.
It was a very public park. There was cars everywhere. This was not a secluded area. Everybody could see what this man was doing. So I look at him and I'm like, what is he doing? I don't see a cigarette. I don't see a cigar. I don't know if anybody smokes cigars while they're walking around, but
I don't know if it's the 1950s anymore.
Yeah, I turned to my friend and I'm like, what is that guy over there doing? And my friend touches my shoulder and he looks at me and he goes, crack. Crack. That's what he's doing. And I'm like, he's just gonna smoke crack in a public park on a Sunday at 3 p.m.
Do you think he cares? He's smoking crack.
That's fair.
I think at a certain point you stop caring once you start smoking crack.
Mm-hmm.
Other people think of you.
That is fair.
Okay, so back to the smell. You don't, once you know that you've smelled the meth, you will never unsmell that smell as a specific chemical smell. Mm-hmm. And they will stick with me for the rest of my life because I smelled people who smell like meth.
Oh, you have smelled meth. I can't say I have.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant smell, mm-hmm. but it's not an unpleasant smell either. It's a very just chemical smell.
Got it.
But once you smell it, you'll never forget it. Like kind of like skunk. You'll always be able to smell a skunk.
I didn't know that meth was huge in the valley. I know that certain areas have their certain vices, like the drug that is more popular where it is.
Sure.
Like when I went to Pride, I met a few guys from Barstow, which is a small town between LA and Vegas. That's all it's known for. It's like a rest stop town, basically. I don't want to shame you if you're one of the 10 people who live in Barstow.
I am.
But that's what it is. So I met 3 guys from there, and I asked them, hey, what's up? How are you doing? Where are you from?
Prison in Barstow?
What?
Isn't there a prison in Barstow?
Maybe. I have no clue. So I asked them, Barstow, that's like in the middle of the desert. There's nothing. I asked them, like, what is there to do in Barstow? And one of the guys looks at me and he goes, meth.
He's not wrong.
Like, that is the only activity to do when you live in a small town in the middle of the desert.
What else would you do? There's no shopping mall. I mean, you are privileged.
I mean, you could do better than meth.
Oh yeah, go throw rocks at the other rocks. That's all there is fucking out there.
Hey.
No. I'd rather do math.
Oh, God.
Just to somehow shake up the dreary desert life of Barstow.
And this isn't just... By the way, Barstow is not just Barstow. This is an allegory for every single...
Small
town desert.
We should go to Barstow and record a live podcast in Barstow.
Let's not, because I don't want to drive 2.5 hours. So what... Not what recreational drugs have you done, but which ones have you been directly exposed to? Which have you seen people doing? Which have you seen people acting a fool on?
I've seen people do math.
Lovely. Okay.
It's not a fun look.
Yeah.
It had that smell. Once you smell it, once it's freshly heated up, it's like, this is gross. I need to leave.
How do people on meth act?
Jittery a little bit sometimes.
I mean, yeah.
A little, like stoned.
Really?
Yeah, stoned and very horny. I'm like, okay.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a aphrodisiac.
That's a whole thing on Pornhub about people who do meth and then...
You know what I've seen a lot of? Have you heard of slam porn?
Slam porn? No, I haven't.
It's people doing like actual dope, like heroin.
Oh, and then they...
Fuck, yeah, they pull up on camera and they have a tourniquet on their arm. And you can see the needle go in, and it's like, I can't get hard to this.
You can't... I could never.
It's not even the drug use part, it's the needle.
Yeah, I have a cousin...
If they did cocaine, I'd be fine with it. If they did cocaine off his deck, I'd be like, this is weird and classless, but you know what, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I don't know, it's not just that heroin does awful things to your body. The process of getting it into your body...
It's so awful.
It fucks
like, there are just easier drugs to take. Have we considered crack?
Have you considered it? I'm sure, but they have opposite effects.
I don't know. Look how experienced I am.
So there's
drugs.
Okay, so I recently learned I was doing CPR therapy, and part of CPR therapy is understanding when people are overdosing and what you would need to do in certain situations, and what drugs are good for people who are overdosing on X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. So, grouping drugs, uppers, downers, and hallucinogenics.
As our saint once said.
No, as most professionals say too. I learned that when I was like in 7th grade.
Huh.
Yeah. So uppers are things like crack, meth,
coke,
absolutely. Downers,
speed.
Yeah, downers, which are the things that we were taught best to treat. Things like heroin, prescription opioids,
weed.
Weed is not a downer. Alcohol is.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were told if somebody is overdosing on one of either heroin or prescription opioids, that there's a drug that you give them that basically resets the pain-killing properties of the drug and re-accelerates the heart.
Yeah.
It basically, I think it's called naloxone. It's a really, really good emergency kit drug.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. Now, the thing is, you can't give naloxone to somebody who is taking crack or cocaine or...
Because their heart will stop.
Their heart will explode, yeah.
And they're going to be charged with murder.
Not malpractice or negligence. One of those two.
It's murder if you have the intent to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's considered murder.
Yeah. When I was in college, so you've met people, you've seen people on meth, and that's not a comfortable situation.
Not a cute look.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I was taking a class called cancer. It was literally just a class on cancer physiology. It was
Really
really...
love astrology.
Oh, God.
Huge crabs.
Some of those tumors were enormous.
Awful.
Yeah. It was an interesting class. It was sad, but it was a great class. Anyways, I had a really good friend who was in the class with me. And I walked in one day, I sat down, and my friend came in maybe 2 minutes after the professor started lecturing, who was just a little bit late. So he sat down next to me, and he grabs my shoulder, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Everything okay? And I'm trying to keep my voice down because, like, the teacher's talking, I don't want to be rude. And my friend goes, I'm fine. I just did something in the car after I parked. And I'm like,
What'd you do?
what'd you do? He's like, I took a tab of acid.
You fucking idiot.
Okay. This was fucking insane. So I was like, you did what? And he's like, I just took an acid tab. And I'm
You
like,
don't do that before a class.
and I'm like, you're taking a class where you're looking at cell histology.
Yeah.
You're basically looking at slides all day.
Yeah.
And these are brightly colored slides. And you're discussing the mechanics of the human body.
And that's a very hard thing to listen to when you're fucking stoned because you realize how close your mortality is to you.
Mm-hmm. When I'm high and I start thinking about what's happening inside of me,
It ruins me.
it fucks me up. Absolutely. So my friend was on acid the entire time. And then I was like, okay, I had shit to do afterwards, but I'm like, I think I kind of have to take care of him now because I want to make sure he doesn't do anything fucked up. And I'm like, where are you going now? And he's going like, oh, I'm going to my engineering class. So he went to his engineering class while on acid. I'd contacted one of our mutual friends who was also in that class and said, hey, he's on acid right now. Can you make sure he doesn't do anything fucking stupid? And
To the teacher?
No, to anybody, not just the teacher.
Oh, God.
But he made it through the day, and that class was at around 10:30 in the morning. The class I had with him was around 10:30 in the morning. He drove home at 9 p.m., so I think that's enough time for it to wear off. Yeah. So he made it home, safe, somehow. And I texted him when he got home. I'm like, okay, why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then he texted me candidly. He said, Sal, listen to me. This is like the 8th or 9th time I've come to school and done acid. And I'm like, what?
Jesus.
The fuck? Okay. And I was like, this guy is fucking insane.
Fully doing acid in class.
Yeah. So I've been exposed to people on acid, you've been exposed to people on meth. I've seen somebody doing crack, but I didn't observe them long enough to witness the effects.
I think my favorite thing is going to a public restroom. Well, when you're cleaning out your store's restroom and you find a crack pipe behind the toilet.
That's happened to you?
When I worked at a grocery store that shall not be named.
Lovely.
That's like great. Was that the grocery store or the barber shop? I forgot.
One of those two.
Yeah.
Either way, it's somebody doing crack in a public space.
Kinda.
Semi-public space.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a fun time to see.
Mm-hmm.
I got throw away a crack pipe today at work.
Not something you see every day.
Not something you see every day.
I have cousins who work at a gas station, and they've told me, like, at the end of their shift when they're cleaning the bathroom, they found needles in the bathroom on a semi-regular basis. San Diego's fucking whack.
Jeez.
Yeah. I've also witnessed the effects that opioid addiction have on people, and it is not fun, to say the least.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's really bad. A bad time for everyone.
Yeah. I have multiple relatives that have opioid addiction. It gets ugly. They start to sort of lose the sense of attachment to people who are close to them. They start to resent people who try to help them, which I think is consistent with all forms of addiction.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I've never seen somebody who's severely addicted whose first instinct is not to immediately push help away.
No, it really depends on the addiction.
Okay.
It's like I say sex addiction, I don't think they push people away.
I'm referring to drug addiction.
Oh, I don't know. It really depends.
Okay.
Because some people know that they need help, but they're just so powerless to their own urges.
Yeah.
And they will accept help, but not necessarily find it easy to do. They'll push it away. It really depends on the drug, I think.
Okay.
We're not addiction specialists.
No, we're not, but I think that you want to study not necessarily recreational drugs, but a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs are precursors to what people take recreationally.
Are you saying my Advil's a gateway drug?
I'm saying that your career necessitates that you know something about this.
Yeah. What's the next topic on your list?
Oh, so we have yet to fully discuss the topic of events where drug use is sort of like encouraged and you're...
Oh, yeah. So we got to say like EDC?
EDC, Coachella, Burning Man.
Burning Man?
Have you ever wanted to go to one of those events?
Not really.
I've wanted to go to Coachella for the longest time.
I don't want to pay like an exorbitant amount of money to walk around the desert and listen to bad music.
I kind of do.
Well, there's no accounting for taste, is there?
Listen. Coachella is not just... it's not just a music festival. I also think if I went with friends, it would be a great social time.
But there are other things you can do for cheaper. You guys can get to the beach. You guys can do acid on the beach. Watch the sky melt and drip.
Why do acid on the beach when you could watch acid and watch Ariana Grande?
Because you'll be fucking miles away looking at a little tiny ponytail on stage.
Maybe. Coachella, so why have you not wanted to... So not just Coachella, EDC as well. EDC is in the middle of Vegas.
I don't like electronic music.
Okay.
I'm not Eric.
Would you go to, what's the other one? Warped Tour?
No.
Really?
It's all music I wouldn't like. While I like music, I like the produced, made music, but when you hear it live, it's usually worse because there's less production value. There's people fucking screaming over it.
You don't like concerts, then?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow.
Concerts are the worst.
I disagree.
Oh.
I've been to some very nice concerts, and it's also, like, the spectacle of it is great.
I think it's worth it. And it's probably because I'm 20.
Yeah.
I can't drink at a concert.
That's fair. I've been to concerts where I haven't drank, and I've had a great time.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Lord was phenomenal. Imagine Dragons was great.
I feel like I need to drink with Lord.
Lord makes you want to drink.
Yeah. I would need that.
Awful.
Horrendous.
You consider alcohol to... Well, most people consider alcohol to be a controlled substance as well.
It is.
Yeah. I've done some dumb shit when drunk.
I don't drink. So
Yeah.
This boy is dry.
Mm-hmm.
This pussy, wet.
Should we cut that out?
Silence. Just silence.
Okay. Yeah, in my family, it's sort of like everybody drinks all the time, and no one questions you over drinking. Like,
that sounds healthy.
Like, yeah. It's a weird thing in my family. I'm not proud of this, but like at a lot of family functions, I've been what's the saying? 2 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Under
fucked
the wind.
up.
Yeah, fucked up, as the kids might say.
Yeah.
I've been awful, and I could like sit in a room and talk to my grandmother while I'm completely fucked up, and she's 100% okay with it.
That's so weird. My
Yeah.
grandma would not be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Like, if you're an adult, especially if you're a man, it's different if you're a woman in my family. Yeah. Low-key misogynistic.
Not low-key.
High-key misogynistic. They're fine if you drink and just act a complete fool. But if anybody, like, even whispers about smoking weed in my family, it's wrong. You can never talk about that. There's such...
That's really funny, considering that's where, like, it started.
It's such a... We didn't invent weed.
No, not necessarily Jordanians, but, like, hashish.
That's a different thing.
It's the precursor to weed.
Yeah. It's very...
Hemp, and specifically cannabis, was grown in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's a Middle Eastern heritage.
I mean, like, look at your family.
I try not to.
Like, you could talk to your mom, you could talk to your brother, I'm guessing, about smoking weed.
Sure.
I could never.
Well,
not in a million years.
My family's just full of lib cucks, so that's why.
You're one of them.
Yeah. God, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
He doesn't like weed.
He doesn't like anything fun. Weed.
I think he likes guns.
Anal sex.
I think he likes guns.
What?
Guns are fun.
Guns are not fun.
Have you ever been to a shooting range?
I haven't, but it's never.
You wouldn't know then, I
appealed to
suppose.
me.
You should try. I didn't like it, and then my little brother said, "Would you please do it for me?"
Hey, you've never been to a concert?
I've been to a concert.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Jeez. I'm trying to put words in my mouth, trying to assume things about me. A shooting range is fun. Guns are fun at a shooting range because, while they're terrifying to hold, it feels good to shoot something.
Where's that gif of Kris Jenner being handed a gun and she just sort of like... She has that look of evil in her eyes. You're familiar.
I'm not.
And then someone tries to grab the gun and then she like pulls it away from them.
Don't give Kris Jenner a gun. Don't give Caitlyn a car.
Awful.
Yeah, that she hit someone and she got away with it. Yeah, kind of awful.
Yeah. So many people commit
vehicular manslaughter. Vehicular homicide's a common theme of this podcast.
Yeah. I know 2 people who've committed vehicular homicide, and that's 2 more than I should know.
Do I know only 2? I can't say.
Okay.
We
We got a little off topic.
Did we?
Yeah. So, our next talking point was pharmaceutical drugs and the rising drug costs. So, I had a really interesting exchange with my dad the other day.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, the other day, I was upstairs doing homework. My dad calls me downstairs, and he's like, hey, I need you to look something up for me. And I'm like, okay, sure, what is it? So, I pull up a computer, I start typing, and he's like, it's a drug. It's the active ingredient of the drug is called Tadafil.
Oh, God.
I'm like, hang on, that sounds...
familiar.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know where it's from. So I look it up, and I'm like, Tadafil. So I type out the active ingredient, and I click the Wikipedia link, and it's like, it's a vasodilator. And I'm like, okay, it's a vasodilator. And then it was like commonly used in Cialis and other erectile dysfunction medications. And I'm like, my dad is asking me to get him boner pills. Lovely.
And I asked, what do you think the occasion was? And you said...
His birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, oh, no, it's for a friend. And I'm like, what friend would ask their friend to buy them erectile dysfunction medication?
Yes.
Anyways, my dad asked me to buy him a pack. And this is where I sort of thought, okay, maybe he is telling the truth, and he is trying to buy it for a friend. Because I looked it up, and I'm like, how many do you want? And he's like, well, what are the counts? I'm like, the lowest count I can find on the sketchy website is 90 pills. So he's like, get 150. And I'm like, you want 150
boner pills?
Boner pills. And so he said he wanted 150 pills for his friend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, weird. You know how much the cost of each pill was?
$1.30.
It was like 88 cents a pill.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 88 cents a pill times 150. That's
I can do math.
125, 130-ish? Let me see if I got that right. I tutor math. 150 times 0.88. 132. What did I say?
128?
I said 125 to 130. I was really close.
Let us but no cigar.
Eh.
Let us but no crack pipe.
Oh, God. So, prescription drugs are getting fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Unless you have really good insurance, prescription drugs are fucking terrible. I've never had to pay more than $8 for a prescription drug, but that's because I'm not buying anything, like, severe. The most I've ever had to buy are, like, antibiotics for strep throat.
I don't have to buy prescription drugs.
Why not?
My mom works for a clinic.
That is not legal. Does she herself buy them and then give them to you? Or does she just sort of take them?
I'm pretty sure she buys them, puts in the clinic's expense report.
Okay, that's different than her just taking
I
the
don't think
drug.
she just takes them. I think she can ask the doctor to order them things.
Okay. That is way better. There's a massive... The center of a lot of political discourse over the last 5 years is the rising costs of pharmaceutical drugs. Yeah. If it's going to be discussed in... Isn't there an upcoming Democratic debate?
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they didn't touch on that.
It's a clown car.
I'd be surprised if they didn't touch on it in the general debates.
I mean, they've been talking about it, like healthcare, like Lizzie,
Mm-hmm.
aside from being a BDSM dom.
Excuse me?
Oh, you haven't heard?
I haven't heard.
So, famous Republican pundit who is hated by Republicans because he just spins yarns, fucking hired a Marine to say that Elizabeth Warren is a dom.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This like happened like last week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like this man's under slander investigation by the FBI.
Oh my god.
It's like, God. So, Elizabeth is a dom, and she can go for a long time. And she's rough.
Trump thinks that he's a dom, but he isn't.
Yeah. So, what were we talking about? Oh, she said she would fight for. She believes that healthcare is a basic human right, and she will fight for basic human rights, which sounds nice, but when you hear it out loud, it doesn't sound that great.
Oh.
I will fight for basic human rights. Sounds like you're doing the bare minimum, Lizzie.
Well, the bare minimum is better than what we have now.
Fair enough.
Anymore.
Sorry, that one just when I hear that woman's name, I can't control myself.
Okay.
She's a daddy dom. Elizabeth wants the daddy dom vote.
She'll get it from me.
Oh God.
God. All right. The war on drugs.
Oh, this is gonna be good. I have thoughts.
All right, let's hear them.
So you want to talk about the new war on drugs or the old war on drugs?
I didn't know that there was a new and an old. I just thought they overlapped.
So you're familiar with DARE?
Yes, I am.
The failed anti-drug campaign?
My cousin was so invested in DARE that he got a DARE t-shirt.
I wouldn't dare.
I'm
I'm sure you're aware of the organization Truth.org.
Yes.
The modern DARE,
Mm-hmm.
who are fear-mongering with fucking THC and vaping technology.
They are.
They're entirely fear-mongering. And everything is scary about it, apparently. But even though that, well, we do need stronger restrictions on, like, vaping technology, banning it outright is not the solution, because it does help a lot of people, and it's healthier than smoking.
Yeah, it's a great transitional option for people who are trying to get out of cigarette addiction.
Yeah, and the issue is clearly not that it exists, but that people who are regulating it aren't doing a good enough job.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not focused on that. They're focused on, like, they make flavors so kids must want it. And so it's specifically for kids. Like, girl, I like blue raspberry.
Yeah.
Everyone likes blue raspberry.
I have... Excuse me. Have you ever smoked from a hookah or seen somebody smoke from a hookah?
I've never.
All of the tobacco that you pack into it is flavored.
Yeah.
Like, my grandfather won't smoke hookah unless it's, like, I don't know, grapefruit flavored.
That's...
Chamomile? That sounds disgusting.
I said caramel.
Oh, I thought you said chamomile.
Caramel vape?
Caramel vape. Ugh, I don't like that.
A librarian who vapes.
Yeah. My grandfather will only have his hookah if it's, like, grapefruit or... What was the other one that he likes?
Gooseberry.
Gooseberry? I don't know if that's a hookah flavor.
Or
mint.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Just that menthol flavor.
Yep. So, the fact that THC being flavored is supposed to be an indicator for kids is
not even THC, just like e-juice.
Yeah, that's complete bullshit. Adults like flavor too.
You don't lose your flavor receptors as you get older. Quite the opposite.
They change as you get older.
Yeah, your palate changes and matures.
Mm-hmm. You say when there's a pack of chicken nuggets on your desk.
No one asked you. God damn it. But yeah, Truth.org is the new DARE, and they're trying to fearmonger every fucking thing. And it's going to work out just about as well as it did last time, because people never learn.
Yeah. You ever see Mad Men?
No.
Within the first few episodes of the show, Don Draper is working with a cigarette company. Yeah. And basically the focus, one of the primary story arcs of the first season is a cigarette company wants to know, in the face of the Surgeon General ruling on cigarette smoke, how can you continue to advertise a product that people know will kill them? And then Don Draper's solution was, because you're an American man, and American men smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it.
People forget that, like, cigarettes weren't always the cool thing to do.
They were or weren't?
They weren't. They were just an example of wealth.
Did they only
because you could afford things that you don't need.
Did they only become the cool thing to do after the Surgeon General was like, yeah, they'll kill you?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It. Yeah, that's awful.
It showed off your wealth to be like, oh, you buy things you don't need. Like cigarettes are a luxury item, or cigars are a luxury item. Mm-hmm. You don't need it.
I know a lot of people who treat cigarettes as if they're not a luxury item, like they're a necessity. Like they can't get through the day.
Well, that's because they're addicted.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
Cigarettes bad. Cigarettes are the fucking worst thing for you.
That's not true.
Tobacco's not crack. You know what I mean. On a per capita basis, though.
I think arsenic's pretty worse.
Okay, on a per capita basis, cigarettes
kill. Is also bad.
How many people die because of tobacco-related lung problems?
Alexa, how many people die to tobacco-related health problems?
A response from an Amazon seller about Sacred Eagle Herbal Smoking Blend says, "We are not aware that there is a problem shipping to Arizona. You may also order directly from us at www.jdnpearl.com. Was that helpful?"
Alexa is on crack.
Yes, thank you.
Alexa's on crack. We gotta get her help.
Thanks for your feedback.
Thank you, Alexa.
Alexa. That helped nobody.
No, absolutely not. That was fun. We had a guest appearance.
A crackhead was on our show.
We had a legit crackhead on our show.
Yep. Oh my god.
Well, you heard it here first. That Sacred Blend or whatever has fine shipping in Arizona. You heard it here first.
I'm fucking dying.
Well,
oh god.
I have no idea what that was. What she was asking.
Oh god. Thank you, Alexa.
All right. Where were we?
I don't know. Where are we on time?
36.
Cool. So, the war on drugs, if we're continuing that, you referred to truth.org, you referred to DARE. Mm-hmm. The war on drugs, I was never exposed to.
Well, because
I grew up in a suburb.
And you were born.
And I was born Arab.
And you were born at what decade?
In the 90s.
Exactly. We're just over by then.
I don't know if it is.
It is.
Do you know how many people...
The time period is like the 70s to the late 80s. That's considered the war on drugs.
I don't think that we ever stopped it, though.
Well, that's more of a cultural issue, not so much a policy issue. The war on drugs is specifically a policy issue.
Okay. When I refer to the war on drugs, it's not just a series of federal laws meant to incriminate drug users. It's also how those laws transcended and took hold onto state and local governments that are still exercised to this day.
But I would say those are the effects of the war on drugs, not the war on drugs itself. Like the mass incarceration of black and brown people.
Yes.
Mandatory minimums. Those are the effects of the war on drugs, not necessarily the war on drugs itself.
Okay.
Because we've stopped, kind of.
Tomato.
No.
Yes.
Not quite. I think that like you would say that the fact that black people still live in like ghettos and stuff is the effects of segregation, but not segregation itself.
I mean, yes, that's true, but that sort of seems like semantics at this point.
Not really. I mean, it matters because
Okay.
things that can be addressed can be addressed. Because we don't have the same policy machine that existed back then. So, therefore, things can be done about it now before there couldn't be. So the war on drugs effectively is over, but there are still effects of it that exist. And that distinction does matter. Because it...
I mean, yes and no, because you still... What's his name? The guy, he was the head of the DOJ for a while before Trump ousted him. Jeff Sessions.
There you go.
Yeah. Jeff Sessions came out...
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Yeah, came out after being appointed and basically equated marijuana consumption to other Class 1 drugs.
And to
which is
moral degeneracy.
And moral degeneracy. That's complete fucking bullshit. That is a propagation of war on drugs terminology from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, but there was a period in between. You're missing like the Obama years and even some of the H.W. Bush and some of the Clinton years and some of...
I think it's misleading to believe that sentiment didn't continue to persist.
Okay, that sentiment might have existed, but there was a policy stop. There was a specific stop period. You could say it's starting again, but that stop period matters because if you say that it continued, that's kind of spitting in the face of Obama, who helped deregulate lots of things.
I mean, Obama helped deregulate things on the federal level, but as soon as Trump took over, they reversed a lot of what he
But
did.
what you're saying, but see, there was a break in the war on drugs,
Okay.
and that break does matter. Because if you say the war on drugs never stopped, that's not true. It's a false statement.
Okay.
Because it did. Because when Democrats were in power, it did stop for a while. In fact, Obama pardoned quite a few people. A lot of them were former drug dealers or people who were charged with nonviolent drug crimes. And that was his attempt to try to make amends for the war on drugs, because it was supposed to be a turning point, and then Trump got elected. The country was moving past it. The country still is, because weed's becoming recreationally legal all over the country.
Yes, it is, but there are also other states who are doubling down on their position that marijuana should be illegal.
And things like CBD are now federally legal
Yeah,
everywhere.
absolutely. I was going to say something.
You got wrecked by facts and logic. Get wrecked, liberal.
I wasn't arguing.
Get wrecked, liberal. Anyway.
Where is weed legal?
Oh,
California.
the District of Columbia, recreationally.
Oh, really?
Alaska has it medically now, I think.
I mean, recreationally, where is it legal?
Colorado,
Mm-hmm. Washington State.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have friends in Seattle who smoke weed all the time.
Doesn't mean it's recreationally legal.
It is recreationally legal, yes.
I know plenty of people smoke weed in California who didn't do it because it was recreationally legal.
Yeah. Where else?
Alexa, where is weed legal?
United States federal law prohibits possessing, using, buying, selling, and cultivating cannabis. However, the recreational and medical use of cannabis is permitted in the states of Alaska, California, Colorado, the District of Columbia, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Nevada, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, subject to state regulation.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of
That's
states.
a lot. That's a lot.
A lot of good states, too.
Yeah, we can go to Vermont, where Bernie's from.
I mean, I wouldn't want to go to Vermont, but I'd be...
Vermont sounds like it'd be nice in the fall.
Yeah. I've been to New England in the fall.
They're finally getting their first Target.
What?
Vermont's getting its first Target
Target?
store.
Oh!
Yeah.
How was Target not there before?
Because Vermont doesn't want big block stores. They want they specifically want like a community plaza kind of deal.
Got it.
So it's like a Target owned area, but it has small shops.
Got it.
Like the one on Sepulveda, like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smaller community Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
What time is it?
It's 43 minutes.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we meandered a whole lot of that. I wonder how much of this audio is usable.
We'll cut out some of it. I think a lot of it is still really usable.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode about drugs.
Yes.
We have our special guest, Alexa.
Alexa went 1 for 2 today.
And if you like this, you should
Subscribe to our Patreon.
check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
At the $1 tier, you will get mentioned in the credits. At the $5 tier, you can ask a Q&A question. And at the $10 tier, you can suggest a topic for discussion.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for a podcast coming later this week when we discuss both episode 1 and 2 of the Jeffree Star saga.
Yep. The beautiful...
The show where billionaires complain about everything and nothing happens.
Yep.
But you'll hear that later.
Yeah. Don't
forget to like and subscribe.
Yes. We love you.
We need that engagement traffic.
We love you.
I'm not going to bind myself to that.
We love you.
Okay, bye.